Last winter, I quickly discovered that one of my favorite hobbies has become the art of pantrying. Pantrying is indeed a word I made up to describe the act of stocking, maintaining, and eating from the larder. Traditionally, keeping a storage of food in the home was a common practice. It is only recently that we have become dependent on grocery stores being available to us at any time. While I am thankful that my survival does not depend on how my potato crop does this year, there is something about our dependence on convenience that I do not like to encourage in myself and in my home. In fact, I have made a conscious effort to push against our culture of convenience, even if in small ways. Joel Salatin in his book, Folks, This Ain't Normal, wrote this. The first supermarket supposedly appeared on the American landscape in 1946. That is not very long ago. Until then, where was all the food? Dear folks, the food was in homes, gardens, local fields, and forests. It was near kitchens, near tables, near bedsides. It was in the pantry, the cellar, the backyard. I think the events of the past 2 years have helped many of us recognize that comfort in our world of electricity, grocery stores, and speedy transportation is not guaranteed to us. If you think about it, we are really only 100 years removed from knowing how to sustain ourselves through the work of our hands. This was the way from the beginning, and the modern world is, at best, an experiment. No, our survival now does not depend on how much we grow and what we store, but food preservation and stocking a pantry is about stewardship rather than survival. It's for everyone. It's an actionable step you can take in your individual life, whether it's by growing your own, buying from local farmers, stocking up on sales at the grocery store, or a mix of all three of those things like we do. The beauty of maintaining a working pantry is that it is completely customized to your life. Your pantry does not have to look like mine, or like anyone else's for that matter. You also don't have to live on a farm or have a traditional root cellar to embrace the art of pantrying. You may have to get creative, step out of your comfort zone, or create new habits, but almost everyone in some way can return to the time-old art of building up a pantry. The first part of pantrying is stocking food. Keep in mind, this isn't hoarding, and it's not storing food away for the apocalypse. This is what our meals are made from. So here is a small peek at my family's larder. The first area of food storage in our home is the kitchen. Ingredients we use most often are kept at arm's reach. Because we buy so many items in bulk, I like to store smaller portions in glass jars, so I'm not wrestling with giant bags or 5-gallon buckets every time I need something. These jars are scattered throughout our kitchen in cupboards, drawers, or little nooks. Going through and seeing what jars need filled up or wiped down, what we need to write down on our shopping list, is a big part of pantrying and maintaining that storage. second part of our food storage is down in our basement. As you walk down the stairs, you will see pumpkins and squash lining the stairway along with onions and more squash on the floor at the bottom. Next to that is a beautiful blue TV cabinet that was sitting in our attic forever until my mom and I actually turned it into a little pantry by taking the TV hardware out and adding wooden shelves instead. Because it stays fairly cool in our basement, this is a great place to store our garden seeds in the drawer on the bottom, and then in the cabinet area we store our home canned goods, storage potatoes, homegrown garlic, and dried herbs from our summer gardens. We also keep a few jars of these things up in that little wooden cabinet in the kitchen that you all have seen in my videos oh so often. In another corner of our basement, we just have a plastic shelving unit where we keep our store-bought items. Noodles, flours, condiments, etc. It could use to be organized and it's certainly not cute, but it works. We also keep our emergency water storage and 5-gallon buckets of things that we buy in bulk like rice and oats in this area. The last space for food storage in our basement is our upright freezer, which has been such a blessing to us. We waited so long for it to come off of being back ordered, and now it's full of homegrown fruits and veggies, bone broth, local meats, cheeses, and healthy fats. Our final area of food storage we have is in our attic. If we monitor the temperatures well, our mild winter this year will be perfect for keeping our 50-pound bag of storage potatoes good till spring. We also have apples in boxes and flour stored on an old bookshelf. When we're ready to use these things, we bring them down in small amounts. Apples go in the drawer in the fridge, a few potatoes in the basement, and the flour into jars in the kitchen. When you begin building your pantry, you will quickly learn that food simply needs tending to. You'll need to go through your fridge and see what can be used up. You'll have to keep an eye on squashes and apples going soft in storage. This is sort of where I feel like the pantry becomes a verb. Things like making squash puree and putting it in the freezer for future meals. Putting hard-boiled eggs in the almost empty pickled red onion jar to get one last use of the brine. Canning cranberry juice because they need used up after Christmas. Making a big batch of sourdough waffles to put in the freezer, which uses up the buttermilk you had left over from making homemade butter. This little dance that we do with seemingly small bits of food adds up over time, decreases food waste, creates nourishing meals, and is indeed the very art of pantrying.